Good morning, students. In our previous class, we discussed about the classification of elements into SPDF blocks. Now, in today's class, let us discuss about other type of classification based on their properties. Okay? So coming to the other type of classification, keep the subheading as classification of elements based on their properties. Okay, so coming to the next type of classification, it is based on their properties. Based on this also, the elements are classified into 4 categories. Now coming to the first one, those are called as representative elements. And coming to the second type, transition elements. Then third type, inner transition elements. And the last fourth one is inert gases. Okay. So now first let us discuss about the first type of the elements. These are known as representative elements. Representative elements are, these are also known as normal elements. Or even these are also known as main group elements. Okay. So coming to the first type of elements, these are mainly called as representative elements, or these are also called as normal elements or main group elements. Okay. So mainly all the non-metals as well as metalloids, everything will be comes under this representative elements, even including some metals also. Okay. Even the highly reactive metals like alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, along with that all the non-metals and metalloids also will be included in this representative elements. Now first of all, coming to the definition of representative elements. A representative element is nothing but the elements in which the outermost orbit is incompletely filled. Okay? Got the definition on that? Representative elements nothing but the elements in which the last orbit. Okay? Last orbit means generally we call it as ultimate. Okay? Ultimate orbit or ultimate shell is incompletely filled are known as representative elements. Okay? For example, if the element is having 3 orbits, the last orbit means what? The third orbit is known as last orbit. Okay, so graph diagrammatically if you observe this. So if the particular element is having the last electron in the third orbit, for example, that last orbit is known as valency shell, or it is also known as ultimate. Okay, so before the last, this is called penultimate, and even before that penultimate means from the last third one, this is called as anti-penultimate shell. Okay, last shell is ultimate shell. From the last second, this one is a penultimate, means before the ultimate, and even before this one is known as, how many number is present? The last one is called ultimate, before the last one is penultimate, even before the penultimate is known as anti-penultimate. Okay, but coming to the representative elements means what? the elements in which this last shell, nothing but we call it as ultimate shell, is incompletely filled. So the such type of elements are known as representative elements. So somebody will get doubt, sir, incompletely filled, nothing but what? For example, if the orbit capacity is 8 electrons, if out of the 8, if it has only 7, then it is known as incomplete, right? So note down the definition. The elements in which the outermost orbit which is generally called as ultimate shell. Ultimate shell is incompletely filled. Are known as representative elements. Okay, the representative elements means the elements in which the outermost orbit or nothing but ultimate shell is incompletely filled. So such type of elements are known as representative elements. Okay. Now we have to know what type of elements. Nothing but in the periodic table, the elements present in which group will be comes under representative elements. Okay. Now coming to the location of which groups will be comes under this representative elements. Remember one thing, all these S block elements as well as all these P block elements. Okay, so all the S block elements as well as P block elements. But coming to the P block, if you observe there, we have 6 groups. Out of the 6 groups, what is the last group? We know 0th group. For the 0th group, if you observe the configuration, it is NS2, NP6. Okay, so it is having completely filled configuration, right? So it is not a representative element. So representative element means all the S block and P block elements except only one group, that is noble gases. Okay, nothing but a 0 group. Okay, except that 0 group, all these S block as well as the P block elements are known as representative elements. So how many groups will come under these representative elements? We know S block means how many groups? 2 groups. First A group as well as second A group. Coming to P block means we know it is 6. But out of the 6, the 0 group if you neglect, so remaining how many? 5 groups. So total 7 groups will be comes under this representative elements. Okay. So which groups will be comes under representative element means the first A and the second A, because these two comes under S block. What about P block? P block means third A, fourth A group, 5A, sixth and the seventh A. So these groups are collectively known as representative elements. Okay, all the S block and the P block except this 0 group. Now let us discuss about the common properties of these representative elements. Even This is the third time we are going to discuss about these general properties, because already first once I explained about individual group wise. Even in the last class I explained about these S block as well as the P block general properties. Okay, I hope now you got idea about the general properties of these representative elements. If you observe there, S block, this is coming to representative, it is including S block as well as P block. Okay, we discussed about the individual properties of S block elements as well as individual properties of P block elements. Okay, now if you observe that this representative elements includes metals as well as non-metals and even metalloids also present. Okay, because in the P block elements there will find both non-metals as well as metalloids, and even S block contains purely metals. So coming to representative elements, it includes all metals, non-metals as well as metalloids. Okay. Now coming to the physical state, if you observe, this contains solids, liquids, even gases are present in this. Okay, representative element contains solids, liquids as well as gases. We know generally solids, we know all these metals are generally solids. Now coming to the gases, we know about some of the non-metals. At room temperature they will be present in gaseous state, most of the non-metals. Okay, some of the non-metals will be even in the solid state also. But coming to the liquid, as I already told you, there is only one non-metal which is present in the liquid state at the room temperature, that is bromine. Okay, right? Already we discussed about this point. This is only the non-metal which is present in the liquid state at room temperature. The remaining non-metals will be present either in the gaseous state or in the solid state. Okay, this is about physical state. Now coming to the electronic configurations and oxidation states. We discussed individually about S block as well as P block. Every group wise electronic configurations and also oxidation states we already discussed. Okay, and again it will be waste of time, the same points to be written. But coming to the one of the important point regarding the bonding of these elements, generally it including metals as well as non-metals. Okay, so when non-metals are there, and they will form, these elements can form covalent bonds as well as they can form ionic bonds also. Okay, so they will form compounds of covalent character as well as ionic character also. Okay, so these are the general characteristics of these representative elements. Now coming to the second category, transition elements. Okay, if you observe there, in the case of representative elements, the outermost orbit is incompletely filled. But now coming to the transition elements, in these elements last two shells will be incompletely filled. Okay, what are the last two shells? Both ultimate as well as penultimate shells are incompletely filled. Okay, so coming to the definition wise, the elements in which penultimate shell the elements in which the penultimate shell is incompletely filled are known as transition elements. Okay, the elements in which penultimate shell is incompletely filled are known as transition elements. Okay, so somebody may get doubt, sir, only penultimate shell. So while defining, I said last two shells. Last two shells means what? Both ultimate as well as a penultimate. Okay. When I am saying it as a penultimate shell is not filled, automatically what about ultimate shell? It is also not filled or not? Because according to Aufbau, generally we know the electrons will be enter into the orbit also with the lower energy, or even we know these orbits when we are moving away, energy is increasing. So before going to the third orbit, the electrons will be first enter into second orbit, right? When I am saying this is incompletely filled, automatically the outermost is also incompletely filled. Okay? Or if you have such type of doubt, then even you write clearly the elements in which both outermost and the penultimate shell is also incompletely filled. Okay? But no need to write like that. When we are saying penultimate shell is incompletely filled, automatically ultimate is also not filled. Right? So these elements in which the last two orbits are incompletely filled, those elements are known as transition elements. Okay? If you observe the specialty of these transition elements, they are present between S block elements as well as P block elements. Okay? The specialty of S block elements, the extreme left hand side of the periodic table, if you observe, these are highly electropositive elements. The extreme right hand side of the periodic table, these are highly electronegative elements. Okay? Or in other words, easy to understand, the extreme left hand side of the periodic table are highly reactive metals. The right hand side highly reactive non-metals. Forget about noble gases. They are different. Okay? What will be before that noble gases? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, halogens. Those are highly reactive non-metals. Okay? So when you observe from left to right, these highly reactive metals are present. So the reactivity of metal slowly decreases. Means electropositivity slowly decreases. Okay? At the same time, electronegativity, nothing but non-metallic character slowly increasing. So these transition elements are between this S block and P block. Nothing but between the highly electropositive and highly electronegative elements. So they act like a bridge between them. That's why these are known as transition elements. Okay? So note on that point also. These elements are acts as bridge between highly electropositive and highly electronegative elements. I already once explained to you what is meant by electropositivity and electronegativity. Electropositivity means tendency to lose electron. Electronegativity means tendency to gain the electrons. Anyway, even in clear manner, we will discuss furtherly. Okay? So these are called as transition elements because they are act like a bridge between the highly electropositive and the highly electronegative elements. Okay? Note on this. coming to these transition elements, which elements will be included in or which elements are called as transition elements? Just now we discussed about representative. All S block, P block except that noble gases are included as main group elements. Now coming to these transition elements, generally we can say that all D block elements, all D block elements are known as transition elements. Okay. But regarding these D block elements also, there is an exception. Okay. In simple way we say that all the D block elements are transition elements, but except zinc, cadmium and mercury. Okay. All the D block elements except zinc, cadmium and mercury. So once look at the periodic table. If you observe the periodic table, zinc, cadmium as well as mercury, all these three elements are present in one group. Okay, zinc, cadmium, mercury belongs to same group. It is a 12th group. Okay, once observe the periodic table clearly, then you will get clarity. When you are moving from left to right, we know 1, 2, 3, 4 group numberings are there. So out of that, the 12th group, if you observe, these three elements are belongs to same group, and that is 12th group, and even that is the last group of D block elements. Okay, so if you observe the common point between these three elements, this zinc, cadmium as well as mercury, in these three cases, the common points if you observe, these three belongs to same group. Which group it is? 12th group. As well as, if you observe these three electronic configurations, the first D block if you observe, scandium, that group if you observe, D1. The second one is D2, D3, D4 like that. If you observe these three elements, they will have D10 configuration. Okay, these three elements will have the common point as they have D10 configuration. Okay, so for example, if you observe zinc, it is a 3D10, cadmium 4D10, mercury 5D10. Okay, why these three elements are not included in the transition elements? Okay, definition wise, in all these cases, the last electron entered into d orbital, so these are called as D block elements only, right? But why don't we call them as a transition element? Means, if you observe the definition of transition elements, we are saying that the inner shell, what we call that, a penultimate shell, is incompletely filled. But in the case of these three elements, the penultimate shell is completely filled. Okay, because they have D10 configuration. So that is why these three elements are D block elements, but not transition elements. Okay, that's why these three elements are known as non-transition elements. Okay, regarding the transition elements, the main point we need to remember, one is definition. Coming to the next one, regarding commutative point of view, mainly they asked many times, which of the following is a D block element but not transition element? Okay, so these three, zinc, cadmium and mercury, these three are D block elements but not transition elements. Why don't they become transition elements? Means the reason is what? Due to completely filled d orbital. Okay, in all these three cases, the inner d orbital is completely filled. Okay, means the penultimate shell is filled. It is not incompletely filled. That's why these are D block elements, because the last electron entered into d orbital. but not transition elements. Okay, that's why these are known as non-transition elements, right? Even write one point in the notes. Here, note on one point. Mention it as note. Okay? Because this statement was asked many times in the competitive examination. So mention one point which gives clarity about this. All transition elements are D block elements. Okay, all transition elements are D block elements, but all D block elements are not transition elements. Okay, now once you check whether the statement is correct or not, all the transition elements are D block elements. Okay, got the logic or not? Because in all these transition elements, the inner shell or even the penultimate shell is incompletely filled. So in all those cases, the differentiating electron enters into d orbital. So that's why all these are d block elements. But all d block elements are not transition elements because of the exception zinc, cadmium and mercury. They are D block elements but not transition elements. Okay. Next, coming to the general properties of transition elements, as we already in detail discussed about properties of D block elements. Again, same properties we have to write here. Okay. It will be a waste of time to discuss the same points because just in yesterday's class we discussed about D block elements general properties. Same properties we need to write here. Okay, you write in the notes, right? Now coming to the next category, inner transition elements. Just now we discussed about the transition elements. Now coming to the inner transition elements. Okay. So first of all, what are meant by inner transition? From the name you will get idea. If you observe the location of F block elements, in the yesterday's class we discussed where they are located. They are present in the D block, that third B group. Nothing but in the D block only, but they are placed separately at the bottom of the table. Okay, so that is why these are known as inner transition elements. Okay, so inner transition elements are nothing but F block elements. So definition wise, if you observe, note down the definition. The elements in which the anti-penultimate shell previously we mentioned it as a penultimate shell. Penultimate shell means last second shell. Anti-penultimate shell means last third shell. So the elements in which the anti-penultimate shell is incompletely filled are known as inner transition elements. inner transition elements. Okay. So our anti-penultimate shell means from the last third shell. This is not filled means automatically ultimate as well as the penultimate shells also incompletely filled. Okay. So in these elements, ultimate as well as penultimate and also anti-penultimate, all these three shells are incompletely filled. So such type of elements are known as inner transition elements. Okay. Now, which elements will be comes under inner transition elements means all these, all F block elements, all the F block elements are known as inner transition elements. Okay. Even now coming to the properties of F block elements. So in the last class, we discussed clearly about the properties of F block, and even we discussed about the location of F block elements. Okay, we know the F block elements means there are two types. What are the two types? One is lanthanides and the other one is actinides. Okay. Lanthanides means the elements following lanthanum means from the atomic number 57 to 71. The 71st element is known as lutetium. Okay. Actinoids, they are following by actinium and up to lawrencium. The atomic number is 103. Where these groups are present, we know lanthanoids are 14 elements. Actinoids are also 14 elements. The position of lanthanoids is 3rd B group and 6th period. Actinoids is 3rd B group and 7th period. Okay. In the previous class, in the last class, we clearly discussed about that one. You already written in the notes also. Okay. But remember about this. What we discussed yesterday about the specialty of these actinoids. All the actinoids are radioactive elements. Now coming to the last category, that is noble gases. About this type of elements also, when we are discussing about individual group wise, we clearly discussed about the noble gases. Okay, what we discussed, these noble gases are known as rare gases, are also known as inert gases. They are very rarely available in the nature, so that is why these are known as the noble gases are rare gases. They don't react with other elements, so that is why these are known as inert gases. Okay. So what about the position of these gases in the periodic table? These are nothing but 18th group or nothing but 0 group. Okay. So if you observe the periodic table, the extreme right hand side of the periodic table, what are the elements first? We know helium, neon, argon, krypton, as well as xenon and radon. These are the gases which are known as noble gases. We know about the radon. Radon is a radioactive element. So mainly these are noble gases. Okay. Their properties, everything there we discussed. What are the properties? We know the common point is all are gases. Okay. So all these noble gases are, in simple way, these are gases in state at room temperature. What about the valency? The valency of these elements is 0. Okay. The combining capacity of these noble gases is 0. Why they don't form these compounds? Because they have octet configuration. What is the general electronic configuration of these elements? We know they will have Ns2, Np6. So if you observe the valency shell, they are having 8 electrons. So nothing but they are having octet configuration. So that's why they are already stable. So they don't want to lose the electron, or they don't want to gain, or even they don't want to share the electrons. So that's why their combining capacity is 0. Okay. Regarding the electronic configuration, as we already discussed, helium case, helium is having doublet configuration. Okay, its electronic configuration is different from the remaining noble gases. All the remaining noble gases are having Ns2, Np6, but helium is having Ns2 or 1s2 configuration. Okay, but even the first orbit is completely filled, and even the properties of helium is the same like the remaining noble gases. So that's why helium is placed in the 18th group. Okay. Now, this is about the classification of elements based on their properties. Okay. Till now we discussed about the different types of elements as well as different all these periods and groups of modern periodic table we discussed. Now let us discuss about the drawbacks of modern periodic table. Okay, drawbacks of modern periodic table. Because all the merits, everything, main postulates we discussed. Coming from the starting classification onwards, one common drawback is there. That is even the drawback for this modern periodic table. That is position of hydrogen. We all know why still hydrogen is not placed in a particular group. Okay, why don't placed in a particular group? Because we know hydrogen is normally a non-metal element here, but coming to the properties of hydrogen, if you observe, it will have similar properties like halogens as well as alkali metals also. Okay, so it has, hydrogen has, where it shows similar properties, like alkali metals and halogens. Okay, hydrogen exhibits similar properties like alkali metals as well as halogens. Okay, if you observe there, alkali metals, we know their valency is 1. In the same manner, the valency of hydrogen is also 1. Okay, so there are some other properties also in the hydrogen and its compounds lesson we will discuss in detail. A simple way, so because of the one valency, some of the properties will be similar to the properties of alkali metals. Because alkali metals, we know how they will combine with the non-metals. In the same manner, hydrogen is also able to combine. Okay, as like the alkali metals, it will also exhibit +1 oxidation state. Okay, but even it is having similarities like the halogens. Okay, we know all halogens like fluorine. If you see how it is available in the nature, fluorine we write it as F2, chlorine Cl2, Br2, I2. So these are available in the nature like a diatomic gases. As like them, even hydrogen is also available in the nature as H2, right? Okay, F2Cl2 Br2 I2. In the same manner, hydrogen available in the nature as H2. It is also like a diatomic gas, and even it is also a electronegative element. It, as like the halogens, hydrogen also able to react with metals. Okay, we know fluorine, chlorine, all these exhibits the oxidation state as -1. In the same way, hydrogen when reacts with the metals, it will also shows -1 oxidation state. Okay, so there are some properties which are similar to alkali metals as well as halogens, but there are some properties in which way hydrogen is differs from alkali metals as well as halogens. Okay, that's why still now hydrogen is not placed in a particular group. Okay, in the simple sentence if you want to say why it is not placed means due to similarities with alkali metals and halogens. Okay, so according to those properties it should be placed both in first A group as well as seventh A group, so it is not possible. So that is why it not located in a particular group. Okay, now coming to the other drawback, if you observe, the location of lanthanides, and actinides. Okay, nothing but lanthanides and actinides are nothing but what? F block elements. So location of this F block elements at the bottom of the table. Okay, they placed at the bottom means they did not place these elements in the periodic table. Okay, they did not given the correct position for lanthanides and actinides in the periodic table. Right? If you observe the periodic table, what is the location of lanthanides means what you written just now? They belongs to third B group and sixth period. Simply to that lanthanum place only all these 14 lanthanoids are included. Okay, right? Coming to the actinoids also we know 14 actinoids are there. All these 14 are placed in one block, actinium. Okay, third B group, seventh period. So they failed to place these lanthanides and actinides properly in the periodic table. Okay, so these are the major drawbacks of our modern or the long form of the periodic table. Okay, even there are some cases like generally the long form of the periodic table is based on the electronic configuration, but like just now we discussed helium, it don't have the electronic configuration same as the remaining noble gases, but still helium is placed in the along with the noble gases. Okay, because it is not based on only electronic configuration, it is based on the similarity in their properties also. Okay, so these are the main drawbacks and even the merits about the long form of the periodic table. Okay, now coming to our main topic in this lesson regarding competitive exam point of view. Till now whatever we discussed, this is about the history about the classification of elements and the construction of modern periodic table we discussed, right? Even the types of elements also we discussed. But coming to competitive exam point of view are to study the properties of the elements in the next coming lessons, or to guess the properties of the elements or the type of bonding present between the elements. We need to discuss about one major topic, that is periodic properties. Okay. Before that, even one more important thing regarding the competitive exams is location of a element in the periodic table. Starting I mentioned one point. Okay. If you say any particular number, atomic number if you say, you should be in the position to find the location of the element. For example, if I said atomic number 60, that element is belongs to which group, which period, you can tell in a simple way. Okay, how to find everything we'll discuss in next class. Okay, thank you.